All right, Steve, you can commence.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'd like to call to order this April 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Norwalk Shellfish Commission. Has attendance been taken, sir?
It has.
And the chair notes that a quorum is present this evening. Approval of the minutes from the March meeting, if we could.
So moved.
Thanks, John. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you very much. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And we'll move on to public comment. I see that we have a single attendee. And if that attendee would like to speak, if the hand could be raised electronically.
Hi, you're referring to 163 Gregory? If so, that's me.
No, sir. No, sir. Just a public attendee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. You'll be in new business.
All
Don't
good.
worry. Don't worry, Tom. I'll get you.
All good.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, let's move on to the treasurer's report. Bill, please, sir.
Sure. So as of, let's see, February 28th, the balance was $29,292. There were several expenditures. One was posted on 3/7 regarding the printing of the shellfish permits. That was $537. On March 3rd, there were two postings, one for $35 and another for $70. That was for attendance at the Yukon Commission, Shellfish Commissioners.
Yep.
That was the, I guess, the permission or the money to get into the session. So that totaled $642. The current balance as a result of that is now $28,650. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. Secretary's report, no report. Committee reports, right back to you, please, Bill, for the Department of Health.
Okay, sure. The rainfall for March was 4.66 inches. Last year was 9.45. Historically, it's 4.26. There were two closures due to rainfall, March 6th and again on March 17th. No reported bypasses. And that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Pretty
And it
quiet
looks
month.
like rain and showers for like the next 10 days that I'm seeing on my feed. So we're going to get into some more for sure. Wastewater treatment plant, no report. Mayor's Water Quality Committee, not restarted, no report. Permits, probably just on sale, Bill. That's all we can say.
Yeah, I did call to see if I could get just a general amount, and they're a little hesitant only because they'd have to actually go through the booklets and count them by hand. So I said, don't worry about it. So maybe we'll work on it towards the end of the year so I can have at least a number for going towards the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, or one of us could just go down and do that for them behind the desk. That's
Can
all.
you remind us how many approximately were sold last year?
Oh gosh, I'd have to check.
Don't worry about it. Just curious.
Yeah. Keep going with the meeting if it's okay, and I'll see if I can dig it up if that's all right. Maybe we can come back to it.
Sure, no problem, Bill.
All right, thanks.
Police Sergeant Bisegli, please, sir.
Hey, doing tonight, guys. Nothing to report on our end from police aspect. Everything's pretty quiet. Water temp right now is 44 as of yesterday, so starting to creep up little by little.
Keep it going. Keep your engines running. That should help.
That's it. That's it.
Right. Thank you, Justin. And for the advisory too. Norwalk Harbor Management Commission. I see Mr. Stedman and of course Chairman Kibbe are here. Chairman Kibbe, please, sir.
This evening, activity is getting the transient moorings and the club moorings paid for, and our money collected for that. So that's well underway. Jeff will report on the funding for the East Basin dock. Beyond that, I have very little to report other than just getting moorings in and getting things cleaned up for the season. Thank you.
No, thank you and good luck with that. Mr. Stedman?
Oh, thanks, Steve. Again, sorry I'm in the car and not on the computer, but I do have several things I'd like to report on that I think are of interest to the Shellfish Commission. And as Alan said, still awaiting the allocation of funds for the Veterans Park Marina reconstruction. The Bond Commission met on March 28th. but this matter was not on the agenda. I mean, there's a number of other towns that are also awaiting allocation of grant monies. The next meeting of the bond commission is the 25th. And so we're hopeful that it will be on that agenda. On March 24th, I attended an interesting meeting in Stanford, which is a State of the Harbor meeting at Soundwaters. And it was very well attended and very, very good. The mayor spoke, the Harbor Commission chair, the director of the Land Use Bureau. Interestingly, in Stanford, the Harbor Commission is, by executive order of the mayor, is also the Shellfish Commission. And to carry out those responsibilities, we've been working with the Bureau of Aquaculture to figure out the best way to do it. And so the Harbor Commissions, every Harbor Commission has the authority to hire assistants and consultants. And in this instance, the Harbor Commission has talked with interested parties in Stanford who are interested in shellfish management, of water quality and shellfish management, and has a group now that's assembled. That the Harbor Commission would still have the final authority, but the day-to-day work and the recommendations would come from this committee. And we've been working with the Bureau of Aquaculture, and there will be a tutorial, we're calling it, with the Bureau of Aquaculture and the Harbor Commission and committee from Stanford to talk about the responsibilities of the Shellfish Commission. So I think probably that committee would, Steve, might wish to talk with you as well, and to get the experience a little bit of the Norwalk Shellfish Commission. It's quite interesting. The other thing I'd like to mention about the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative, we've been talking about this at the Harbor Commission meetings. There will be an update. They've retained a consultant, a large firm from outside the watershed to update the plan. But the only work they'll be doing is to update the policies of the plan. And they just recently got their quality assurance program approved by the EPA, which is necessary to do this sort of water quality work, which fits into the requirements of the EPA. So we look forward, I think, both the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission, and the Watershed Initiative understands that both the Norwalk Shellfish and Harbor Commission have important roles in the watershed and will be important participants in the update of the watershed-based plan, including we could do the policies ourselves. We've shared the policies in the harbor management plan, and also regarding water quality, and also shellfish resource, provided those as background to the consultant. The other thing that was interesting is Harbor Watch gave a nice presentation titled "Flowing Through Time: Analysis of Fairfield County Water Quality Data from 1995 to 2023." Started in 1995. And it was a very interesting presentation that they found that water temperature is increasing, and also impervious surfaces are, of course, increasing in the watershed. But the data shows that the results are not that. The results in many cases are improving. And then, so the question is, why is that? And I guess it has to do with, since 1995, all those years ago, that there have been improvements in the wastewater treatment systems and other improvements. But again, the concern is about the increasing impermeable surfaces in the watershed and rising temperatures. So at some point, that's going to catch up. And they've also, Harbor Watch is still working on a pilot project to assess the feasibility of using the DNA-based testing to identify the sources of contamination in the watershed. Historically, or not historically, we talked about the opportunities for doing that, but it's a costly process. And so there's some new technologies now, and Harbor Watch is trying to evaluate those. So that's something we're still awaiting for, the applicability of using what they call microbial source tracking, which is using DNA technology to determine the source of bacteria contamination, whether it's from humans or what type of animals it's from. So that's pretty interesting. The other thing that I think is very interesting is the ongoing planning for what's going to take place at Manresa Island. When was it? March 6th, there was this a presentation at Brian McMahon concerning the goals and the vision that they have, and it was really interesting. But I think it's fair to say that both commissions have an important role in reviewing the plans as they develop. And after the presentation in the auditorium, there was a session in the gym, going back to me for over 50 years. But anyway, the it's an army of consultants, well qualified consultants, talking about different aspects of this. And there are also people that I talk with in that meeting that have questions and are asked when will we have a chance to when will this be reviewed, and when will we have a chance to review the plans, which is interesting. And during the meeting or during the presentation, I sat next to one of the principals in the whole thing and suggested that they contact the town of Darien, which is going through the process of figuring out how to manage and what sort of public access to allow at Great Island. And when I talked with the first selectman a couple of months ago, no one yet had talked with him about it, because even though it's a great idea and the ideas are wonderful, there's still, they're finding this out in Darien, there's still difference of opinions as to how this should progress. And we also know that the Bureau of Aquaculture has some interest in this too, because if there was to be a marina or a mooring area associated with access to Manresa Island in the future, that would likely result in the closure of shellfish beds nearby for in order to meet the federal requirements for managing shellfish beds. And then also, but anyway, that's something that we can look forward to in participating in the review of that. There was also, I'll get two more things. I'll stop. There was the Long Island Sound Summit was held on, as it's called, pretty much a day-long workshop on the 27th of March at Housatonic Community College in Bridgeport, and that was very interesting. That involved people from Long Island and Westchester County, pretty much all people who were involved in water quality testing and beach cleanups and volunteer groups. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. But again, it's talking about monitoring and cleanup actions that nobody really should have any objection to. And there was also, it's interesting, there were people from the Citizens Campaign for the Environment, which was a Long Island group years ago that was established and basically shut down the dredge material disposal sites that Connecticut used, and started that long process of by contesting the use of the dredge material sites and arguing that it would affect New York waters. Very instrumental, and an example of I mentioned to the people I talked with, we were on opposite sides, but certainly respect the interest that they had, because they weren't trying to, pursue something that would, for their own interests or to, better their own job prospects. It was all volunteers trying to do the right thing. And then the last thing, and I won't talk much about it, is the legislative initiatives that we know are ongoing that affect not just the Harbor Commission, but really also affect the Shellfish Commission, because the Harbor Commission's decisions can also serve to protect shellfish resources. So anyway, thanks. There's just much going on that I think we can all try to contribute to and make a difference. Thanks, Steve. I'll stop now.
Thanks so much, Jeff and Alan. Great reports as always, and all well taken.
Hey, this is Pete. Sorry I'm late. I got the end of Jeff's talk.
No worry. The chair notes that Commissioner Johnson joined at 1844, and we do have a full complement. And can we return to the permits, Bill? Do you have any info?
Sorry. Well, I've got some tentative. I think this was a little short though. So I want to redo it if I could for next month. But what I was able to come up with right now, we have 50 for non-resident, 71 for residents, and 67 for Norwalk seniors. But I don't think that's right.
It seems low for residents.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have a feeling that they may have utilized some of the 23 for some reason, but I'm gonna have to follow up on that if it's okay with you guys.
Of course. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion for accepting the committee reports as presented.
So moved.
Thanks, John. And a second.
Motion to accept.
Thank you, Nick. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. And on to old business. Only item for old business is 26 Shorefront Park for the revised dock structure that was proposed there by the agent / applicant. And I do see that we have Mr. Bajek in attendance tonight. Jim, did you have anything you wanted to present that was new? I mean, since the last meeting, we tabled this pending Harbor's discussion and vote, which they did. And there hasn't been any other correspondence from the neighbors. So their comments are as they were. So anything new, Jim?
Steve, no, actually, we have nothing new to report.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion on this, commissioners? Just FYI, the Harbor Management Commission recognized this project as being inconsistent with the harbor management plan. The chapter and verse of which I'd have to refer to our sister commission consultant and chair that are here. But that was their finding. And again, as I mentioned, our constituents, if you will, at the South Norwalk Boat Club, their opinion remains unchanged.
I just have to remind the guys that because I know the applicant here, I've recused myself from all of the discussion on this. So
Thanks for that, Alan.
Thank you.
This has to come under a new permit, doesn't it? If they're
Yes,
filed.
we filed a structures dredge and fill application. And that's what this is under.
Because you're changing the way the dock is built, aren't you?
Right.
So
Deep asked us to file a structures dredge and fill application instead of a COP application because we were proposing to extend closer to the side property line. And they wanted to get public comment.
well, I just figured it has to be a new one if you're changing the configuration of the dock and going out of its footprint.
Well, sometimes we can, I've had several applications where we've changed the configuration, but not the square footage, and it was COP eligible.
Well, you're increasing the square footage on this one.
No, we're not. Deep asked us to propose eliminating an equal amount of area from the main dock as compensation for the extension on one of the finger floats. So we're proposing to eliminate a 2-foot by 30-foot section on the back side of the, I should say the south side of the main dock as that
That's 6 square feet, right?
That's, yeah, 60 square feet.
Not, so you said 2 feet by 3 feet.
No, 2 feet by 30 feet.
Oh,
And we're proposing to extend the float, finger float by 3 by 20.
so what size boat are you going to put there?
Well, they have a 24-foot boat, and that's what they're going to have there for the time being. You know, not to say they might go, you know, bump it up in the future, but they have no plans right now for that.
They got no problem running a 24 now. I wonder why they want to do that.
Because the water depths where the finger float is right now, it's very shallow. At an extremely low tide, the boat could barely touch bottom, very close.
But they knew this when they built it, that it was like that. It's been this way for how many years now? That's why I don't understand why now you all of a sudden change it when you're keeping the same boat.
May I speak?
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm not sure what the water depth was at the time that this float was originally permitted. I'm sure that there's been siltation, so the water depths obviously have been changing. So this proposed extension will give them a good 3 feet more of water depth. I would think that the Shellfish Commission would be enjoying the fact that we're applying so the boat will be in deeper water instead of being in very shallow water.
We're
And
talking
the
about
fact that
dredging too.
the fact that we're proposing to remove this part of the south end of the main float, which is where it's the shallowest, I would think the Shellfish Commission would be very agreeable to that as well.
Yeah, but we're
Since
not agreeable with the dredging.
We're not proposing the dredge.
You just said dredging.
No, I didn't.
You did before,
When?
when you first said it. Dredging and your application is going for dredging and something
No,
else.
that's the name of the application. I'm not saying we're proposing dredging. The state of Connecticut has an application process that's called the Structures Dredge and Fill application. That doesn't mean we're proposing the dredge. We're proposing to do the finger float extension and to remove the part of the main float under that particular application process, because that's what we're required to by DEEP. I didn't say we're proposing the dredge now.
Oh, I never heard of that permit before. What's
Well,
this,
look
new?
it up. It's in the statutes. Look it up.
Just to extend your
It's
dock?
also
you gotta-
known as,
Do you have to
it's also
file that
known
just
as
to
a full
extend your
permit.
dock?
What's that?
Is that the file just to extend your dock?
Yeah, just to extend one of the finger floats.
That's the permit you gotta do under?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that. Okay,
Steve, when you get a
And
chance,
so,
could I-
so Deep
Go
is
ahead.
asking, they've asked us under this application process to resubmit the consultation forms to both the Shellfish Commission and the Harbor Commission. So you can provide comments back to us and Deep on this new proposal. So that's where we are.
Thanks, Jim.
Steve,
I heard a "May I speak" by the gentlelady there under another Jim Bajek. If she could identify herself and address the
Yes,
commission, I'd appreciate it.
Maxine, the owner of the property. And we have no intentions of getting a larger boat. We just are concerned as they continue to dredge the harbor, because the silt continues to come in. The same thing is happening with us. We just want to be able to move our 24 feet boat further out so that we're not hitting shellfish or anything on the bottom.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Stedman?
would you like me to, Steve, just to clarify or explain the Harbor Commission's discussion about this?
Yes, please.
Well, the Harbor Commission found that this was inconsistent with the policies of the plan concerning the recognition and protection of the total rights of adjoining property owners, and also felt that there was a potential for conflict with the South Norfolk Boat Club's area. And there was also a long discussion. Of course, this is it's a complex topic, but it has to do with littoral rights and what are the littoral rights. But I think we should all agree that they're not absolute rights. They don't guarantee a property owner the right to, as it says on as DEP puts forth on its own website, have a right for whatever size boat that the applicant may wish to have. The discussion or the consideration of a proposal within the applicant's littoral rights has to be reviewed with respect to public rights and the rights of the adjoining property owners. And in this instance, the South Norwood Boat Club expressed concerns, but it's very clear, certainly it seemed to us, that access to the proposed new dock would involve passing through the dredged area of the South Norwood Boat Club and nearby the area of its south float or south docks. So for those reasons, the potential for conflict there, and also a concern about the structure going right up to the littoral line, the guidelines of the Army Corps of Engineers, which are adopted as a policy in the harbor management plan, although they're not absolute, calls for a 25-foot setback, recognizing that there are circumstances where it's not possible to achieve that. But the other thing that we talked about is, again, that setting a precedent where it's a decision is made based on some sort of agreement that the property owner has 24-hour access or access for whatever size boat the property owner might have. That's a dangerous precedent, I think, because that leads to cumulative impacts elsewhere. But I think with the objection from the South Norwood Boat Club, the use of the dredged area by the boat club, and I heard someone once mention it's sort of like I don't know if this is a good analogy, but someone mentioned it. You know, one neighbor in the upland using the adjoining neighbor's driveway to get access to their garage. So for those reasons, again, this doesn't. The applicant can still go forward with the application to deed. It will go through the permit process. There'll be a public notice, but recognizing that littoral rights are not absolute, there's a potential for conflict. The adjoining property owner has expressed concern, and the adjoining property owner would be using the dredged area right next to the South Norwood Boat Club docks. The Harbor Commission made a thoughtful and reasoned decision that the proposal is inconsistent with the reference policies of the harbor management plan. That's my sort of summary, Steve, unless you have some questions.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for the agent applicant from the commission? Any other discussion? Does anyone have a recommendation in terms of how we should move forward? Okay, then I'll offer mine. I feel, and Jim, your points with respect to Shellfish are well taken and not overlooked, certainly. But I feel that because we have constituents at the South Norwood Boat Club who, through their representatives, have complained vociferously, and our sister commission found it inconsistent. Inconsistent's a pretty high bar or low bar in terms of how you want to look at it. Many times, if it's sort of iffy, the Harbor Management Commission just says, we don't say it's consistent, but we just don't reference it. In a rare instance like this, that was expressed. So my personal opinion would be somewhat in line with Jeff's commentary tonight, that this should go forward. I just don't see with the history of the Harbor Commission's commentary and the neighbors' commentary that we could formally bless it, but this would certainly come back to us on full application because it is a dredging structures and fill, and there could be further opportunity for public input. So I'll leave it up to the commission if one would like to formalize that as a motion or just table this as we've done before. Up to you all. But I think I've said all I can.
Yeah. I make a motion that we table it.
Say again, Nick?
I make a motion that we table it.
Thank you, sir. Any second to Nick's motion?
Yeah, I guess I could second that.
Thanks, Sean.
Can I have an opportunity for comment?
Yeah, I'll say any discussion, please, Jim, go ahead.
Okay, now, we're just asking if the Shellfish Commission can complete the consultation form so we can get this process moving. That's what Deep is waiting for.
Right.
If you table it, all you're going to do is just stall things.
So I think we could put forward the form, Bill. I can send it to you, just indicating that it was tabled. Obviously, there's been discussion between agent applicant and the state in terms of how this design would be made. And let's just play that out. But I'll certainly send you the form in that regard. And let's just let them decide on next steps. Is that okay?
Well, I hope the comments will be relative to shellfish impacts and not to the fact that the Harbor Commission doesn't like what we're proposing.
Well, you might hope that, but I mean, you heard what was resolved tonight. And again, I do appreciate what you said with respect to shellfish impact minimization. But again, in some ways, we're the little sister of the Harbor Management Commission. They found it inconsistent. That's very strong language from our sister commission. And we have neighbors, constituents, shellfish permit holders that are not in favor of this. So I just can't see how we can provide something that says, okay, go ahead, guys. I can't. And the commission has found that. So
I mean, each commission has their own, objectives that they have to satisfy.
And Jim, don't
The
tell
Harbor
me
Commission has their own set.
Jim, I'll mute you. Don't tell me how to conduct shellfish business. You're out of line. I'd like to call this to a vote. All in favor of tabling this with the sending of the document to the state, just indicating his name. All in favor? Any opposed?
Exactly.
Abstentions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Thanks, Jim. I'm sorry this had to go the way it did, just with respect to the back and forth. But thank you as always, and for the applicants for appearing tonight. Much appreciated. Move on to new business. New business is looking for Mr. He's still on?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, Tom, fire away.
Yes, we have a residential property located at 163 Gregory Boulevard. I do have a plan of the, basically it's the same set of plans that you have. I can share that if you'd like, but you all have them in front of you, or at least been submitted to them. It is a residential dock in Charles Creek. It is small enough that we were hoping to do it under a 440. However, there is a conservation easement on the in front of the house. We can't seem to find out what it's for, but the regulations don't allow us to proceed under a 440, so we're proceeding under a structures dredging and fill permit. So, which brings us to you. And like I said, it's a standard dock. We have a 16-foot wide fixed pier with a ramp and a float. And like I said, it's all standard design, really nothing else. Again, it was supposed to be a 440, so really isn't anything to report here besides, standard process.
Hey, thanks a lot, Tom. And commissioners, for those who haven't seen it, just a different geography, but very similar to the one we did for Mr. Hiltz last month, and that we saw, I guess, in March at some point. So I just propose, Tom, that we do that again, and just we'll go out and see it, and then vote on it next month. And we'll have someone from Harbor. Let's try to do this before the Harbor meeting, such that their commentary is maybe more impactful. You'll be appearing, I assume, Tom, before Harbor, their next vote. Okay,
Yes, we just got some authorization, 2 days ago to, for the DEP to allow us to do the consultation form. So we jumped on this one because we're available. But yes,
Alright.
we'll also be on the harbor management to what's the last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday of the month or something.
sounds good. So let's just look for a low tide, guys, and it'll go through harbor, and then we'll have our last shot at it the first Thursday of May. Is that okay,
Okay, so
Tom?
Sounds
my
good.
question was, do I have to come
That's in
back?
Charles
or-
Creek, right?
Well, you don't have to come back, but it would be appreciated if you did. I mean,
Well-
I'm gonna be on the harbor meeting anyway, so I'll hear their comments and questions, and hopefully we'll have seen it by then. So maybe not, but thanks, Tom.
Okay,
I know
okay.
where, Steve, I know where it is.
Yeah, me too. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, that's on Charles Creek.
Yep.
And all it is docks up and down the whole side of the place.
Yeah.
So I think we should just take a quick look at it, but it's got deep enough water there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we're at 5.5 feet at low and we're at 12.5 feet at high.
yeah. All right,
Okay.
that's just, we'll go out and look at it.
Cool. All right, we'll do that through you, Tom. I'll flag you for a low tide at some point during the week, hopefully during the week, a weekday.
Great, and I will see you then.
Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
No new business other than that. Anyone have anything else prior to adjournment? Bill, anything?
No, I'll just work on getting the tally on those permits for you guys for next month.
Okay, thanks. And also Ms. Dixon on the early part of next week when she returns, right?
In terms of what? I'm sorry, Steve.
In terms of re-upping those who requested renewals.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
you.
Pete Johnson.
Thanks, Pete. And all in favor? Aye.
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 All right. Everybody have a good April and see you next month.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys. Good night, everyone.
You guys.